Yo guys, welcome back. Video on the burpee and how to do one correctly. This is especially for my people at Sportsville in my class who are either doing them almost correct or completely wrong. The one in German will come tomorrow from my assistant. So, getting started. Burpees. Usually I think most of us are starting from a standing position. So from the standing position we're basically going to be creating torque into the ground, contracting the stomach, standing in an organized position, which I've spoken about in other videos, so I'm going to move along from that. Going down into the burpee. First of all, for the people that don't know what a burpee is, you go from a standing position to a push-up position to a jump, which I'm going to explain now. So here we are coming from that standing position like I spoke about. Now we need to drop down into a push-up. This is where I see a lot of people becoming in a compromised position right away, because what happens is as you come down, I usually tell my athletes or my clients to keep their knees vertical and come almost in like a deadlifting position where my back is straight, it's not flexed or it's not overextended. However, when we get to about 6 inches above the ground, this is where we start noticing we have a problem getting to the ground without getting in a compromised position. So there's a couple options that I offer to that I teach my athletes. Once we get here and we come to this position where we are not able to come down without flexing the back, I like to discuss with them about the braced flexion. So as we are here, we can completely break, put the bum under like we're going to the bathroom, and completely bend down. Or we can keep the anterior rotation in the hips, and we can come into a braced flexion. Now, a braced flexion is the same thing as your back going into flexion. It is arching. However, we're arching it in a safe manner, and we're arching it on purpose. So this makes it a little bit different than creating this flexion in the back only to get your body down. This is safer. It's a natural movement. It's something we don't like to do all the time, but if you're picking up a keg or picking up something circular, you're going to always have to have this braced flexion, so it's not bad to learn it and practice it. So here we come down to this braced flexion. As you see, there's a bit of curve in my back. And then from here, we need to kick out into a push-up. You notice right away, my feet come together, and I'm going to create torque in my elbows. So my feet are together, I contract my butt, and I create this torque in my shoulders, and I come down for a push-up. You notice if I do not create this torque in my elbows, my arms come straight up at about a 90-degree angle, and they're very loose. Looks like I'm doing the chicken here. However, if I create this torque both in my shoulders and squeeze my butt, you notice that my spine and also my shoulders, where my thoracic and cervical spine are much more stabilized, so much more secure. So this is what we want everybody doing during every single one of those burpees. I don't want to see you come out with your feet out and doing a push-up like this, because while your first couple may be stabilized and safe, you're going to notice that you start getting this bowing effect, or just this sheer force within your entire spine, but especially your lumbar and your cervical, well, especially your lumbar vertebrae, because that's going to be the lowest portion where your hips are going to want to drop. So we come from the position here, creating the torque, squeezing the butt, doing the push-up, and now we need to get back into the position to jump in the air. There's two options we have here. One is quite difficult, and I think most people are going to have a hard time doing it, A, when they're tired, or B, after 5 or 6 normal burpees when they become tired. So the second one I think is a bit more realistic. It deals with the braced flexion, but I'll go over both of them right now. First one, which I think is a bit difficult, comes from the push-up, and then you jump up, and your feet and your arms land out at the same time. Again, in a vertical knee position, your back actually is not in braced flexion or in flexion or overextended. Your spine is in a nice stable position, which then allows you to jump in the air. Again, I think obviously this is the best one in a perfect world scenario, but I think people are either going to struggle with this anyways or have a hard time when they become tired. So what I like to teach, again, is coming from that torque push-up to more of that braced flexion. I did that again because I did that poorly. Coming from here to this. From that braced flexion, as I was discussing, and you notice the first time I did it, my knees were compromising my feet. They were coming too far forward, putting too much of a force within my knees, too much of a sheer force in my knees. So as we come up, I like to come back with that anterior rotation in my hips, so I'm not dumping down. My back is straight, and this puts me again in that braced flexion position, allowing me to now come up into that jump. When I come into that jump, the last thing I want to do is jump in an overextended position. I want to try to create, again, as much torque as I can. So I create the torque by having my arms internally rotated, coming up into a straight line, and just squeezing my hips and my bum together. So it's going to look more like that. So you notice my feet did not come together, but I created that artificial torque by squeezing my butt together, which in return stabilizes my lower spine and the contraction of my stomach, and my arms being straight up create a nice linear line of stability. So again, I'm not overextended here, and I'm not overextended here. So I think the major points within all of this, to just recap quickly, is the push-up needs to have that torque both in the shoulders and in the feet. We never want to be in that compromised position of the knees, creating that anterior shear force. And at all times, we want to be trying to contract the stomach, squeeze the butt, and create as much torque as possible. See if I'm missing anything. So much to go over within a burpee. I think that basically touches on most of the important things. Again, brace flexion is okay. If you can pop up into that one position, keeping your back always stabilized, of course that's better, but I think that's quite difficult. And when you go through your burpees, either for time or for the amount, focus on your technique. I know it's difficult, I know they're hard, but the more you come from a broken position, the more you're going to start feeling the aches and pains in your knees and your ankles and your wrist and your lower back, and the less they're going to do for you, yeah? Broken positions equal broken exercises equal broken bodies. So try to do them correctly, and last piece of information, when I do them, try to take a couple breaks. So I forgot to mention this. Obviously 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going to have a break in between your burpee, but as you come down, take a second here, create the torque, pause, come back up, jump, take a second, organize yourself, come back down and organize yourself the second time in that push-up. Make sure your feet are together and you're creating the torque in your shoulders and hips. The more you do that, the more time you take, or the more times you take the time within creating the torque in your butt and your push-up, in that push-up position, the more you're going to realize you can do it faster and the quicker you'll be able to get through that. But for right now, take a break in between each burpee and also the time to organize yourself in that push-up, and you notice your mechanics are better, you're less broken, and you become much more efficient at doing the exercise. So hope that made sense. Any questions? Right on the wall. If not, until next time.